Hey friends, Ashton here again with Gent Scents with another gone but not forgotten video. Today we're going to be taking a look at a 1999 release that was a huge hit with the younger crowd when it came out and commands huge prices on eBay if you look for it nowadays. That fragrance is Candies for Men by Liz Claiborne. I do have the full presentation on this, so we'll go ahead and check that out, and then we'll jump into the fragrance itself and see why so many people still pine after this one. Let's go ahead and check out the presentation. So it comes with this slip cover. I've already taken it off. It's actually pretty cool. Check that out. Rad. Very retro. Then the box is actually pretty simple. It just says Candies across three sides. And then on the back you have your ingredients, and check that out. Made in the USA, not made in France, which is maybe not a good thing, but still. And then the bottle itself here, it does obviously have kind of a young look about it, but it's neat. It has this gradient color change from blue to a light green up here at the top, so that's neat. The cap is just a cheap frosted plastic cap. And then the atomizer is actually plastic itself as well. On the bottom you have your sticker, 1.7 fluid ounces on this one, batch code, you know, typical stuff. The atomizer on this is actually really nice. I'm not going to waste one, but it does spray out a good amount of juice, so it's got good quality there. You can tell that this is, or when it was released rather, that it was kind of a cheaper cologne, but it still looks nice. The open on this is coriander, cardamom, and watermelon. That's kind of a strange combination, but I guess it works for what they're going for. It's honestly more green than it is sweet. You would think that the watermelon would be the main note and it would be huge and juicy and projecting, but that's not really what happens. If you smell really closely, you don't really pick up on the watermelon much at all. Interestingly, the further away it is when you catch wafts of the fragrance, the more watermelon you get. So if you spray it on and you end up, you know, just going about your day and you catch wafts, you'll pick up a lot of that watermelon. But if you spray it on and check it throughout the day, you don't really get it as much. So that's kind of interesting. And like I said, you get more of a green feel from this than you do a juicy, fruity vibe. With a name like Candies, you would think it would be more on that sweeter side. And it does have a little bit of sweetness, but that's overpowered by the kind of green, not really grassy, but just a green feel. If you smell it, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's kind of hard to put it out there because it's more on the synthetic side of a fragrance, obviously. So I can't really pinpoint and say, well, it smells like grass or it smells like this, you know, green vegetable or anything like that. It's just a green vibe that you get. As this dries down, you get a little bit of light woods, a little bit of light musk. It keeps that very hint of sweetness, but it stays predominantly a green fragrance the whole way through. There's not a huge amount of evolution as this fragrance goes on, and you can tell that it's more on the synthetic side, like I said. When this first came out, really, I remember seeing it all over Walmart, so that's the kind of fragrance we're talking about. It's a Liz Claiborne. Typically those are on the cheaper side of things. So this wasn't a really expensive fragrance. But what that meant was lots and lots of high schoolers and younger adults ended up wearing Candies. And so lots and lots of people across the US have a really strong affection for this fragrance because of the memories that it has. And I think that's one of the things that's driven the price up so much. It's like those maybe old school toys or video games that you played with when you were a kid, and then you want to feel nostalgic and you know you want to pick that up again and remember all the memories that you had. And every single other person who had memories attached to that product, whether it's a game, a toy, a board game, a cologne, they all have the same idea. So everybody ends up purchasing it and the price goes through the roof. This is super expensive for what it is nowadays. There are bottles over $200 on eBay. So, you know, we're talking, you can get a bottle of Candies, or you can possibly get a Xerjoff, or a Creed, or a Tom Ford Private Blend, or whatever. So, price-wise, this is super expensive now. Obviously, the quality is not there in terms of the price, but if you have a really strong connection with this fragrance, maybe you have a lot of really good memories, then I could see wanting to splurge and maybe pick up like a 50 mil. This is a 50 mil that I have here. If you don't have a strong connection to this fragrance, then you are most likely going to be very underwhelmed when you drop $100, $150, however much, and then spray it on. This came out when I was in 8th grade, so it does remind me of high school. But if I'm looking at it in an unbiased way, if this hadn't been discontinued, people probably wouldn't care about it. It would be like Curve. Curve was just as huge of a hit when I was in high school. Everybody had Curve, but it hasn't really been discontinued, so you can still find it for $12 or $13 a bottle, and nobody cares about it. If this had not been discontinued and you could still find this for sub $20 for a bottle, nobody would care about it. It's not amazing. I understand if you have, like I said, a connection to the fragrance that reminds you of things. You know, nostalgia and memories are powerful, and they're powerful feelings to have. So I'm not crapping on the fragrance. I'm just saying that it's not worth the price unless you really have a connection with it. This trend's obviously for younger people. It got compliments when I was in high school. I imagine it would get just as many compliments nowadays. Longevity is 5 to 6 hours, so it's actually pretty good for what was essentially a Walmart fragrance. And the projection is pretty good as well. It's not anything that's gonna fill up a room, but for the type of fragrance that we're talking about, it definitely gets the job done. Alright guys, let me know what you think of Liz Claiborne Candies if you've smelled it. Maybe you have a bottle of this tucked away somewhere. If you do, and you don't care about it anymore, throw that on eBay or swap it to somebody, because it's worth a pretty good amount nowadays. As always, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.